Hello everyone, welcome back to Out of Spec Reviews. I'm Ryan. Today I've got the BMW i5. Today we're in Wellington, Colorado, and we're going to be taking the i5 on a 70 mile per hour range test. We finally got great range testing weather, so I'm really excited. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the car, a little bit about our testing procedures, and then we can go ahead and get started. As I mentioned, this is the BMW i5, and this is the eDrive 40, so it is the rear-wheel drive, I guess, base model you could call it. But essentially, this is the electric version of the new 5 Series sedan. It's got an 84.3 kilowatt-hour battery. They said about 81.2 kilowatt-hours usable. And here we've got 21-inch wheels. It comes standard on 19s, but these are 21s riding on Continental Eco Contact 6Q tires. And with these 21-inch wheels, it is rated on the EPA cycle for 270 miles. You can see it keeps beeping to lock and unlock as I come closer with the proximity key, I suppose. But again, 270 miles on the EPA cycle. And from our previous test, we've seen BMW tends to overperform, so I'm hoping we can get beyond that 270 mile mark, but we'll have to see how it goes. As with all of our out-of-spec tests, the first thing we do is set the tires to the factory recommended pressures, which I went ahead and did this morning. Next, we come out here to Wellington, Colorado to these DC fast chargers and plug in and charge all the way up to 100%. And we use a fast charger and the battery gets nice and warm, and this is our typical testing procedures. We try to keep the climate control running so that the climate doesn't have to cool down a really hot or really cold cabin when we first unplug. However, we're going to charge to 100%, and once we're done charging, we're going to go ahead and unplug. We're going to be using the most eco drive mode setting possible and eco climate control setting as much as possible. We'll keep the temperatures between 68 and 72 degrees wherever is comfortable. And essentially, all we have to do is go around, drive onto the highway, which is right there, and we can start driving north on I-25 toward Nebraska. Then we head on to I-80 east and see how far we can go. I'll turn around a little bit before I hit 50% state of charge, and that's to make sure I don't run out on the side of the road. But I'm going to try to stay on the highway for as long as I possibly can, as far as it's safe. And once I get to very low states of charge where I don't know if I'll be able to make it to the next exit, or I can't maintain highway speeds, I'm going to exit the highway and join some frontage roads. Over there, I'll be able to run the battery out all the way to 0 and use all the buffers I can. Now, BMW doesn't really use much of a buffer, but we'll try our best to run it down to 0% 0 miles. And as per usual, this is a 70 mile per hour range test. So I'm going to go to 70 miles per hour, and that's a GPS speed. And I'll verify that we're going 70 miles per hour on the GPS. And additionally, whenever I'm accelerating, I'm going to use gentle acceleration, and that's to minimize any losses from that acceleration. Additionally, when I'm slowing down to turn around, I'm going to be using regenerative brakes, trying to get as much energy back into the pack as possible. So really, we're trying to see how far the range is at 70 miles an hour. And with this protocol, I think we're really able to get a pretty good picture of what it's like here in the real world. Speaking of the real world, let's talk weather conditions. It's finally spring, and we've got some really good weather. Right now, it says it's in the low 50s, but it's supposed to reach into the low 70s today, which I'm really excited about. Additionally, there is basically 0 wind right now where we're at. And as it looks like right now, there is very little wind along the entire route. However, this weekend it's supposed to get pretty windy, and it's possible it'll get windy towards this late afternoon. However, we should be able to get on the road by around 11, so I think we should miss the vast majority of that. But of course, I'll keep you guys updated, and you can see what the conditions are like when we're on the trip. And as you can see, charging ended. 269 miles indicated range, nice. I'm gonna go ahead, unplug, and we can hop onto the highway. Go ahead, reset individual. Already did. Start her up. Got some Hans Zimmer themes, and we can get started. And here we go, merging back onto I-25 North. There's about like a quarter mile of construction, and I'm also going to double check our GPS speed. But as you can see, just a nice gentle acceleration, right up to 70 miles an hour about. And you'll join me in a moment and I'll verify speeds. Looked at the GPS, and 71 miles per hour indicated is 70 miles per hour GPS speed. And ooh, that is a dirty RV. That's a lot of smoke coming out of it. But yeah, we'll hopefully clear up this traffic, very minor traffic, very shortly, and be on our way. One thing I wanted to point out here in the bottom right is our indicated range. I actually changed it to efficient mode right when we first started, and the indicated range jumped from like 269, as you saw, up to 290, and then it's gone down from there. But we can take a look real quick at some of the stats. That's some of the info so far. So just getting started. As you see in the bottom left, at 75% state of charge, we've done 72.5 miles. So on track to do just under 300 or so, but of course it's a out and back style test. And again, we always do this in order to counteract any sort of elevation gain or loss, as well as counteract as much wind as we possibly can. But of course, this is the real world, so there is some variation here and there. But with that, welcome to Nebraska. Slowing down, taking this exit here in Potter, Nebraska. And there is actually in the last maybe 5-10 miles, a little bit of a crosswind, but almost nothing for the first very long time, almost 100 miles or so, or approximately. But yeah, quite... it's been good. Just gonna turn around here. I've got 61% state of charge. I have set the gas station, not the charger, as the destination so that it will not precondition, and it's saying a 4% arrival. We'll see how accurate that is, and of course we can just do some loops over around the charger if we still have got a decent amount of charge left. Crossed over to 50% state of charge. Still a beautiful day, out of the wind, and we've gone 137 miles at 3.4 miles per kilowatt hour. And like I mentioned, I did put in the destination as the come and go, but not the charger, so it should not precondition. When we started, it said it'd be 4% arrival. Now it's saying 7%, so it's looking like we'll probably have to loop around a little bit, but we'll see when we get there. Things are still going quite smoothly, and I thought I'd tell you a tiny bit about what this is like. So again, this is the i5 E40, so rear wheel drive, and as spec'd, it's like close to 80 grand. And inside, I think it's actually really quite nice. I think, let's see, most of the materials are really quite solid. Feels good, feels put together very well. Really solid, extremely quiet is one of the really big things that I really like. And additionally, this has a Bowers & Wilkins optional sound system. Let's see, you can kind of see the grills, which look pretty neat. Really exceptional, very, very good. So that's been really nice, really enjoyable. Overall, I think this has been a pretty nice place to be. 80 grand worth of nice, that's a different question, but I'm enjoying it. It's really nice. %, state of charge, and we've gone 195 miles. So pretty decent. I don't think we're going to reach the 300 mile mark, pretty sure. However, one thing that I can show you is it's now expecting a 13% state of charge arrival back in Wellington. at the come and go, not the charger again. And remember, when we plugged this in, when we first turned around, it said 4%. So we'll have a little bit of looping to do near the charger, and we can run it out there. I've decided to take this exit, Owl Canyon, and at 17% state of charge, so I can do some loops here on I-25. I decided to do that because if I were to turn around at Wellington, there's a couple of lights that I have to wait at, whereas on Owl Canyon, it's just a stop sign, so it makes it a little bit easier to loop back around. At 9% state of charge and 25 miles of range, it gave me a little warning right there, so gonna keep going. Exiting here in Wellington at the right exit, we have 4% state of charge. It says 14 miles. I'm not sure if I can make another loop on the highway, so I'm gonna take it to the frontage roads and we can run it out there. Engine power reduced at 2% state of charge. It says I still have 8 miles and plenty of power, so I'm gonna keep looping around. As you can see in the yellow, I've got a power limit at about 75%. It says I've got 2 miles of range left, but still doing some acceleration, so we can loop a little bit more. As you can see, 0 miles range, 0% state of charge. There is a pretty strong charge limit that I keep bumping up by like giving it a jab of regen, but trying to coast it in, but this FedEx truck is going quite slowly. And we are at the come and go, but very close to 280, so I think I'm just going to swing around the parking lot a few times so we can hit that 280 officially. And 280 miles, and there's the power limit, and I don't think I could do another mile, just judging by how slow this acceleration is in the parking lot. So I'll call it here and back into a charger. Okay, let's not slam into any poles. Nice, good job. Park. Let's see these stats. Okay, nice, 4 hours, 20 minutes. I did 280 miles and 3.4 miles per kilowatt hour, which is decent and actually beats the EPA estimate. And right here it says 5.7 kilowatt hours, and my understanding is that is how much energy was regened back into the battery throughout this entire drive. So I guess a somewhat interesting stat, but let's go ahead and take a look at how this compares to some other vehicles. The first thing I want to do is take a quick look at this BMW i5 in comparison to all the vehicles that we've tested in our range test. And at 280 miles, it's right in the middle. Let's narrow it in a little bit and take a look at just the sedans. And big surprise, it's pretty average, right in the middle. It's not terrible, but also not particularly good. It had an almost identical range to a Tesla Model 3 Performance and a Hyundai Ioniq 6. The BMW outperformed its own EPA estimate, which we've started to expect from BMW. Efficiency was not that great for a sedan at 3.4 miles per kilowatt hour. This is in the bottom quarter of all sedans. And to give you a comparison, the Model 3 Performance, which is all-wheel drive and much faster, managed to get 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour in very similar conditions. So for a rear-wheel drive vehicle that's much slower, I'm not very impressed with that efficiency, but 280 miles is still a very usable amount of range. My question is if that's a sufficient amount of range given the price tag. That's a different question, and I'm really interested to hear what everyone has to say about that. I'll see you guys on the next one.